So first of all, we need our activity to implement the various callbacks and listeners that we've been discussing about. So you can see here our public class main activity already extends action bar activity. We want to implement a few things. So we want it to implement the following. It's going to implement Google API client.connection callbacks, Google API client.connection failed listener, and a location listener. Instead of you watching me typing, I'm just going to paste these in. I've now added these, but we can see we have a few errors because some of the symbols haven't been resolved. You just need to import the correct libraries to resolve them, and I've added those libraries here. We can now see that we still have an error, and that's because there are some methods that need to be implemented and we haven't implemented them yet, but we will be doing that in just a moment. Before we do that, there's a few things that I want to add to the code. First up, we just want to add a tag, which is a string to the code that allows you to track the name of this application if we're writing it out to the log. So we do that with a private final string. It's called tag, and you can put whatever you like in there. I'm just going to put Lawrence's test app. And the code would look like this. Next, there's a few local variables that we need to set up within this class. Things, for example, for tracking the text view that we call txt output, the Google API client itself, and a location request object. So I'll add these now. You can see when I added them in, it detected that it needed to import this class. So just go ahead and say OK to that, and the class will be imported. So you can see here I have a text view object that I'm calling txt output that will just be used to address the text view on the UI. I have a Google API client that I call mGoogle API client, and I have a location request that I call mLocation request. Okay, now in our onCreate method, we need to set up the Google API client, and we use this with a Google API client builder, and we add the requisite APIs to that. Let's add this code and then we can talk through it. So we go to onCreate, and I'll add the code in here. So what it simply does is it creates a new builder for an API client, and it adds that we want to use the location services API by saying just location services.api to the add API method. We want the connection callbacks on the Google API client to come to this class, and we want the on connection failed listener also to come to this class, and then we build it. So that's now going to give us a Google API client that allows us to talk to Google services. Now, if you remember, we had a UI element called a text view, and this will render the location information. Of course, we want that text view to be addressable in code using this txt output class. So let's set up something to do that right now. And we do that like this. We just specify the txt output is found by looking for the ID or.id.txt output. If you remember, when we specified the text view in the XML for the activity, we called it txt output, the same name as this. We just find that view and then we cast it into a text view, and now we're good to go. So just to recap, what did we actually do here? Well, first, we created an instance of a Google API client using its builder. We set it to use the location services API here, and then we told it what the callbacks for connection and on connection failed were this. So we're going to be handling them within this class or within this activity, and then we hooked up the text view to code. You've actually done a lot, but there's still more to come. So let's have a quick quiz first.